Hi, I'm Liv Long, CEO and founder of SMSF AI, and today I'm talking to George Takianos from Assetora. Welcome, George.
Thank you, Liv. It's nice to be on your show.
So Assetora have recently released a new property solution ideal for self-managed super funds, where you can buy residential property with your super, and either yourself or a relative, such as a child, can actually live in that property and rent it from the self-managed super fund. So today, George is going to answer the tough questions and explain to everybody how this is compliant, how it's done, and how this works from a practical perspective. So over to you, George, to explain to us, firstly, how is this actually achieved?
Yeah, thank you. And thanks for the opportunity to present this to all of your clients and your members of your show. So, well, Assetora, we're a financial technology company, but we're also a registered managed investment scheme with an AFSL license. So we've got a managed investment fund that we set up, which is called the Assetora Investment Fund, and our license allows us to set up bespoke mini investment schemes within our fund. So the way this works is, if you have a property that you would like to own within your super, we can set that property up as a unitized sub fund. What that means is we set up a managed investment scheme, which is solely for your bespoke property. You own units in that scheme, and that is it. You own units in a managed investment scheme, right? Or structure. The actual ownership of the property sits with Perpetual, Perpetual Trustees Company Limited, is the formal name. They own that property in trust for and the benefit for your unique bespoke managed investment scheme. And that is why this is possible. There is a separation from the asset and the sub fund, and the sub-managed super fund. The sub fund purely owns units in a managed investment scheme that we will call the bespoke Olivia Long property managed investment scheme, property sub fund. And that property that you selected, that we have bespoke set up this ring-fence sub fund around, you benefit from the growth and the income generated from that asset. And then what you have then is effectively the ability to have liquidity trade and do a whole lot of things with that property that you can't do if you own that property directly with your SMSF. So it's like we meet this regulations because there's no control and there's separation of ownership. That's why you have no control of the underlying asset, or you own a unit in the sub fund that you can train. We run the sub fund and we work with a property agent to manage the day-to-day operations of that property. But like you said, because you don't own the property, if you're a tenant or you have a related party of a tenant, that's irrelevant, because the commercial agreement that we will have with the agent and the client, the tenant, is a commercial agreement. You can't get away with it by doing a handshake deal. It's not how it works. We manage that end-to-end process. Yeah. And that's why this is a compliant structure and very flexible.
Yeah, so literally it enables someone to go with their children, select a property, buy it and leverage, so they can still borrow if they want, leverage their super.
We manage the leverage. We max out at 60% LVR as a general rule of thumb, because we just learned from experience that the risk of default and losing that property because it's repossessed by the lender is very low. The preference though is, if you're going to do this, keep the leverage as low as you can. And if that means that you get family, friends to syndicate with you, because with this structure, you can use your self-managed fund, you can use your own money, you can have your kids come into it. You can do a family syndicate to help the family wealth out. So you can almost do it with no debt. The preference is though to keep the leverage as low as possible, because that get from history, the people that benefit the most from doing these structures are the ones that have very little or no leverage on it. They've syndicated and they 100% benefit from the income and the growth from that asset.
So what happens is you've got mum and dad who have set up the structure, you've got the children who are renting it, paying the rent, but also over time, if I understand correctly, they can buy the units from the sub fund, which is actually creating an income back to the super fund for the parents.
Yeah, that's right. So what, and this is the ideal situation. So say the parents want to help the kids get in. So you set up the bespoke property sub fund. It's this little managed investment scheme, which is very simple to do. You set up an Assetora. I'll just quickly explain. We'll explain at the end how we set it up. But once they set it up, let's say the property's $1 million is what you put in there. So we set up $1 million unit. The SMSF might put in $500,000. Mum and dad might put in 200 grand, and the kids put in their 300 grand. Over time, the kids can buy out the units on a secondary market off the SMSF, because you're just basically unit holders, like you own shares in the property. We have a secondary market where you can trade those shares between each other. That price is, we daily data feed, so we get a valuation that's current every day. So you know that as your units are priced daily, because of the income growth and the capital growth that comes through that asset, you're buying an up-to-date price for an asset that you're all investing in. And yeah, the parents can say, right, well, we're going to help you out, but we would like you to buy $20,000 worth of units off us every single year. And so what the SMSF gets is that the capital growth, plus they're benefiting from the income of the asset that they're going to be distributed as we get it in every month. So yeah, it's a really good strategy, and it's a very clean way. There's no speculation here. It's real-time data, the valuation's accurate, and you're trading with transparency. And you're basically helping the family grow its wealth without compromising any of the regulations within that SIS has written to make sure that you're generating income for your retirement.
Yeah.
So this is kind of a win-win situation for everyone.
Yeah, but how is it all documented for audit purposes? So on the SMSF side?
Well, all you own are units in a managed investment scheme. It's no like I used to work for a company called Colonial First State. It's no different to owning units in the Colonial First State imputation fund. You know, it's like you own shares. That's basically it. You set up your SMSF Assetora account, you set up your personal Assetora account and your kids have. You all put money and you think, right, there's a sub fund that we've allocated for you. We can make it a closed sub fund, which means that only the people that you would like access to that have visibility access to that. And then you buy your units. So that's all that's required. So we give you a report. There's statements go out every month. There's, as you know, we'll be doing daily data feeds into the software that you use to run your business. So clients will just have an update, and it's regular reporting like you would own shares. You know, you'll get your income statements and your capital growth statements and your tax statements. But there's no complications though, because all you own are units. You own units in a managed investment scheme. The underlying asset and the complexity of that is managed by Assetora and the agent. So what you'll get, yep.
So what happens if the tenant or the children decide they want to move out of that property?
We have to get a new tenant in there. We'll just call once again, it comes back to the core purpose of the SMSF or any super fund to provide you for retirement. And our responsibility is that we, as our mandate, as a manager, we need that asset growing in capital and providing an income. So the kids move out, we talk to the agent, we get a new tenant in there, new commercial release, and the income continues. Now, what the family does at the unit holding level is entirely up to them. You don't have to sell your units. Kids can move out, they can still own the units. They can still buy them up, or the super fund can say, well, we like this asset, we like the yield, we will buy your units off you on our secondary market.
Right. Okay, so do the unit holders receive a distribution?
Every month, every unit.
Okay, so it's a monthly income.
Monthly distribution, monthly income, because rent's paid usually fortnightly or monthly, but we distribute monthly,
Are there any performance fees? Well, what are the management fees on something like this?
So to set up the structure, now we work with net asset value. So net asset value means if you buy a property for $1 million, but $500,000 is capital, $500,000 is debt, we only charge fees on the $500,000. We're not charging fees on the borrowed money, because when you sell the asset, that money goes back to a lender, it doesn't come to you. So there's a one-off fee of 1.5% on the net asset value to establish the fund and get a whole structure up and running. And then we have a Assetora management fee of 1% per annum on the net asset value that we use to basically run this whole service and the platform and to run the reporting and everything else, and to manage the relationship with the agents. And then we have a fee of 0.4%, which basically it's an incidental fee for the underlying cost of the asset. So if we need to get a plumber in, fine, put that in there. That all comes out of that fee, right? That's not Assetora's fee. That's the fee of managing the asset. So now that's what we account for it. Do we take that? No. The fee will be what it is, right? We're not just going to take it and keep it, but we try to max it. On average, we've worked out to about 0.4%. That's it. They're the only fees. But again, when you buy the asset, you're owning the bespoke asset. Assetora, the way the ownership works is the sub fund will go and purchase the asset, right? Or through perpetual purchase, but we work with our sub fund structure. And there's still stamp duty and all those costs associated with buying a property. The SMSF and the other unit holders, they wear that cost because it's their asset. We're just providing a structure that allows you with a lot of flexibility. It's still your asset that you need to cover the expenses for.
Okay. So what happens when the property's finally paid for or sold off, or what happens if they want to unwind the arrangement at some point?
Well, we can unwind it. We just sell the asset, pay off if there's any debt, the lender gets paid off, and then the money gets distributed into your Assetora account. You'll just see all of a sudden, if there's, say you owed $500,000 worth of net asset value, the property's gone up to 850, we sell it. Once all the expenses are paid, the net assets are put straight into your account, which might be 800 grand. Goes after all expenses that are paid out, 800 grand goes straight into your account, and then you've got liquid cash in your Assetora account. You can do whatever you want.
Got it. So it's a fantastic structure, great opportunity, but how easy is it in reality to sort of get moving?
Very simple, actually. And the process as of today, Olivia, is online completely. So once somebody would like a property, they simply set up the Assetora account, their Assetora account. They go to www.assetora.com, go through the process of setting up your account and deposit your money into that account. Then you'll have an option to say, I would like to set up my bespoke property fund. You hit that button and we've got a whole lot of questions that you answer about the property. That comes through to our investment committee, and then we assess it, and then we can set that up through that process. And in that process, we're dealing with the agents involved, to make the purchase and unitize that sub fund. And when it's unitized, then that money goes from your account and gets converted into units into your account. Then you have no more cash, but that cash now you look up your account, that cash is now unitized and you own the asset. That's how easy it is. I mean, the process will explain it all, but ultimately once you're part of setting up that questionnaire, you upload the images, the contracts, everything's set up, we assess it, and then we implement the process. But you're engaged in that process. There's phone calls with us. We're talking with you. It's not something that, you'll know what's happening all the way through it. You'll understand when Perpetual is going to be, when we're negotiating with the agent on your behalf, Perpetual will know that it's time for them to come in, sign contracts. We execute the loan. We do all that, but you are completely updated through that process. And all of a sudden, while we're setting that up though, that money that you have in your account, we quarantine that for your purchase. And when it's quarantined, it means you can't just take it out because it's in the process, right? Yeah. And then unless you decide to cancel it, then we cancel it, then the money's freed up again.
Sure. So if someone's ready to get started and wants to talk to someone about it, where do they go?
Well, if they just want to have a chat initially before they do anything, call me directly. My number is 0437 138034. Give me a call directly, or you can go onto our website and log an inquiry through that, or call our 1300 number, which I don't know off the top of my head right now, but it's on the website on the top right-hand side. But give me a call directly. Let's start that conversation. Everything is possible with this structure. The whole point Assetora exists is we want to make everything that creates real wealth accessible to every human being, in Australia. And you can set up the minimum investment that we require in any of these assets that we're bringing to market is $1,000. So for $1,000, you can go into big and valuable assets that create massive income, massive capital growth. But we now also offer this bespoke service for anyone that wants to own an asset within themselves and their family. That's what this service is as well.
I love it. Thanks for your time, George. We'll speak to you soon.
Thanks so much, Liv. Thank you.